I'm doing this. Alright, I guess I am just going to get right to it. There's something that I want you to know, and that something is I'm gay. It feels so good to say that. And I didn't bring tissues. I'm shaking right now because this moment is real and it's here. And I've been waiting for this a long time. So I am sitting here today because I care about you guys. You have been a part of my life for the past, almost 6 years. And this is a really big part of my life. And I want to sit down and talk to you and have this conversation just like I've had this conversation with friends and people who are close to me in my life. I guess the only place that I really know where to start is with a question that I got asked a lot, and that is how/when did you know that you were gay? This is a simple yet complicated answer. Simple because it's just something that I've always known from my earliest memories, but complicated because it's hard to put that into words to describe that. It's just been there. This is not something that I chose. It is something that is a part of me and has always been a part of me. I remember, being as young as 4 because I was in daycare and living my life as probably my truest and purest self because I didn't really have anything else influencing me. I was just going about my life as a kid, and my natural attraction was towards girls. All my crushes were exclusively on girls. And that changed when influences started to come in as I got older. So that leads us into the next part, which is, if I've known all this time, what the heck happened? Here is what happened in a condensed nutshell because there's a lot that has happened. Essentially, I grew up in an environment where homosexuality was not universally accepted. It was accepted by some, but definitely not the majority. And that was difficult. Very difficult. I'm not going to go into specific details because this is something that is very, very personal and I want to keep that private. I felt the need to take this part of me and put it in a cabinet and lock it up really tight, and I shoved it in a corner because I basically was seeking love and approval. And so I decided that I would start living this life that I don't really want to live, but I was going to do it because I wanted to be loved and I wanted to be accepted. So growing up was interesting, suppressing this from a very, very, very young age. There's a point when I was in 7th grade where a boy called me a lesbian. And to be perfectly honest, I was definitely probably staring at girls in my classes. I know I definitely did this because I would think about what it would be like to hold their hands and kiss them, and I probably stared a lot. I don't know what compelled him to call me a lesbian exactly, but he did. At the time, I didn't know what that meant. I could just tell from his tone that it was said in a derogatory way. And so when I found out what the word lesbian means, my first reaction was, well, why is that a bad thing? That's me. And so just more and more and more suppression, layers and layers and layers. And then later down the line, lots of dating guys. And this is a hard thing for me to talk about because I care about the people that I have been in relationships with, and I respect our relationships. The fact that I'm gay does not change that. I'm sure most of you know I have dated guys, and I was in a relationship, and that relationship has ended, and I'm not going to go into, specifics about my relationships because that's not what this is about. I will say though that I feel really, really lucky because the last man that I was with and will ever be with has just been so kind and respectful and supportive through all of this. And I feel really, really lucky to have somebody like that in my life and to have been with somebody like that. I'm going to try my best and walk you through my mindset, the inner workings of my brain during this time where I dated guys. I can care about a man, but I cannot be in love with a man, and I cannot give myself fully and completely to a man. Physically, emotionally, because it's not in my nature. And I just kept telling myself, this isn't bad. You can go through the motions of this. You can date guys. It's fine. It's not ideal, but it's not horrific or anything, So many other people have it way worse in the world. And I was just living this quietly unhappy life, where I just kept telling myself, essentially, that I wasn't worthy of happiness and that I wasn't worthy of true love coming from both sides, and I didn't deserve it. That's essentially what I was telling myself this entire time. I've had this wall up for so much of my life, but it wasn't like this brick or stone wall. I've described it to my friends as this glass wall where you could see me, but you were never getting all of me because there was still that barrier there. And I pushed so many people away, especially girls and women, because I was afraid. I was afraid of getting too close and developing feelings, and then just I didn't even want to know what would happen. I was so afraid, and I felt like I did not deserve to be happy. I was in this constant cycle of distraction and suppression. Distraction and suppression. Distraction, running around and dating guys, and then suppressing everything that I was really, really feeling on the inside, and pushing people away that could have added so much to my life and could have helped me. But I just wasn't ready. And one of the hardest things for me is I have harbored so much guilt over the years because of, my relationships, and because I knew that I wasn't giving myself fully. It sucks to know that you've put another person through that, and you've kind of dragged them through the mud with you while you're just so confused and just all over the place. I eventually realized and came to terms with the fact that I will never be able to fully give myself to a man. And a real relationship, it's a two-way deal. It's not one-sided. One person shouldn't just be spewing love onto the other one while the other one's like, or running away. Both people should be in the relationship. Both people should be present in the relationship because both people are worthy of a full life and love. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it's part of my story, and I'm not ashamed of who I am. Between my relationships with guys, I have had encounters with women, and again, I'm not going to go into specific details because this is not, about that. This is not intimate details of Ingrid's sex life. So yeah, this is very different. But I will say that when I have kissed girls with no feelings attached, it felt, oh my god, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I remember thinking in my mind, this feels pretty good, and I don't even have feelings for this person. Imagine if I had feelings. Shit. Suppress, 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 suppress. Shove it down, shove it down, shove it down. So now let's fast forward to last year. 25 was definitely one of my most challenging years of life to date. I was struggling with a lot of things internally, this being the main thing. There was a point last year where I dropped everything and left for New York for a couple months. It's because this part of me was coming out, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. I dropped everything and I just had to get out, and I just had to be on my own and explore myself and just be with myself, because I had never really spent time with myself like that before. And I remember being in New York and finding this song called Secret. There's a part in the song where it says, "And now I know I can't deny my nature." And when I heard that part, I freaking lost it, because I knew that this was on the horizon. I knew that I was going to be taking this piece of me out of that cabinet. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but I knew it wasn't going to be easy because I was so afraid of, hurting somebody else. I was afraid I was being selfish, that I could just stay in this and it would be fine and okay. And I kept telling myself, it's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to a person that I'm in a relationship with if I'm not giving myself fully to them. If I can't actually really, truly, deeply love all of them, what am I doing? They deserve a full life. I deserve a full life. And the day that I told my first friend, I just remember waking up and feeling like, I gotta get outside. I need to get out. So I got in my car and I just drove. I had no direction whatsoever, and I just got out and drove and drove and drove. And I drove for about 50 miles up the coast. And I stopped when I felt like it felt right. I pulled over and I sat on this rock that was overlooking the ocean, and I sat there for a while. And the thing that kept playing over and over in my head was, we all deserve our best chance. And it's time for me to give myself my best chance. I just felt like I was going to burst if I didn't tell somebody. The first person that came to my mind was my friend Kat. And so I basically just kind of bugged her all day to see if I could come over. She's amazing, and I love her, and I just sat and talked to her, and I told her everything, and she was just the best. She is the best. It felt so good to just tell somebody, because I was ready, and I just feel so, oh my God, so incredibly lucky to have such wonderful people around me, and I feel like I've gotten closer to all of them because of this, and the things that they have said to me, and the way that they've just touched me. They've touched my heart. It just means so much to me. It's like, how did I get so lucky to have these people around? And I will say that one of the most comforting things for me throughout this entire experience was talking to people that are close to me and having some of them say, you know, I knew, or I know, or I kind of always had a feeling. And I was not expecting that response from anybody. But to have these people say that to me, it was unexpectedly probably the most comforting thing that I could hear, because it was like, oh my God, I'm not crazy. This is a part of me, and even at my best attempts to suppress it, it was coming out. So I have been asked, you know, how do I know that this isn't just a phase? And I think that that is actually a really great and important question. For me, it's pretty simple. This is me, sitting right here, right now. This is me, and the fact that I'm gay is a part of me. From my earliest memories, I have always been this way. And the part of my life where I was in a prison that was built for me, and then I, at one point, took over the construction of that prison and kept the building going myself. That was the phase. Being in that prison, that was the phase. So if you're wondering what happens now, I want to live my life unapologetically, because I'm proud of who I am, and I'm not gonna apologize for who I am anymore. This is the life that I've always lived in my head, and now it's real. It's real, and I can't believe it's real. I've just dreamed about taking this piece of me inside that cabinet and putting it in the space that it's always had inside of me. I'm giving myself my best chance, and so should you. I love you guys, and I'll see you really soon.